Welcome back. In this video, we're going to focus on integrating PowerApps into our Power BI reports. So we'll do this two ways, and we'll show those two ways to you right after this. So we built this great report over the past few weeks around our TimeCard systems. Now we want to go ahead and make that data actionable. And we can do this in PowerApps very easily. So PowerApps can actually get integrated right inside of your Power BI dashboards and reports. By doing this, you can make that actionable. So let's say for example, you find an anomaly inside the report. You can hit a button to say, send this email to anomaly to the person that needs to go to, like an investigator or a QA person or whatever. You might also have a quota that you want met. And you want to adjust the quota quarter after quarter. Well, you can use PowerApps inside of that report to adjust your quotas, your budgets, your forecasting, and all those kind of numbers, and have it right back to your report. So we're going to show you some pretty lame looking applications today, but they'll be integrating in two ways inside of our Power BI reports. The first way we'll use is the Power BI desktop that you're seeing right now. This Power BI desktop is a classic desktop experience you have when you're building Power BI data sets and reports. The second way we're going to use today is going to be inside the Power BI service. Now, the Power BI service gives us a lot more functionality inside of it, mainly around, at least at the present time, we're using the custom visual, the PowerApps custom visual to do what we want to do. So inside the desktop application, you cannot create a brand new application yet. This is still a preview visual right now. However, if you're doing this inside the Power BI service, it will allow it. So let's go back to the desktop first, and let's try to make this a real easy experience here from the desktop. So first of all, I need to go ahead and import, let me go ahead and delete that guy. I'm going to go ahead and import the custom visual. So to do that, I'll hit the ellipsis button here, say import from marketplace. It's then going to open up the Power BI marketplace for visuals. Go ahead and do a search for PowerApps, and there she is. Now notice it does say preview at the time of this recording. Now that means there's a little bit of funkiness you're going to see inside of this sometimes. Like I noticed when I publish from here to the service, sometimes the visual doesn't come up until I re-import the visual. So it's a little bit of weirdness like that you might experience sometimes. I haven't had any problems putting this as a production ready thing, but it does give me a little bit of weirdness. Once things are stabilized, once you actually get it working in the service, it does seem to be pretty stable at that point forward. But you'll notice, like for example, that the resolution is going to look a little funny today and those kind of things. So let's go ahead and click on this piece. And the first thing I want to do is I want to import an existing application they've already built. So I want to import my TimeCard application into this. So that'll be our first piece we want to do here. So let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so we can kind of actually make our visual like right around here. Maybe we'll put our other visual inside of here. So we'll have our TimeCard here, and then we'll build an application to service right here. Now, of course, these aren't going to be very pretty applications, but they'll work fine. This first one, to actually access the visual, because I've already built this application, I'm just going to click on any of these numbers right here. It's not really going to matter in this exact instance. Notice it is giving us a warning right now saying, hey, you cannot actually create an app from here. We can do that when we go to the service. So first step is to find out what environment you have. So I'm going to put this in my webinar environment. I'll choose my application, and I've got one here called TimeCard 2. We'll go with that guy. Hit the add button, and there we go. Now it is going to be important that you need to allow anybody that's going to be using this visual, using this report, to actually see your application also. Now you can kind of wiggle things around to get it just the way you want it, to where you don't have that little line there. There we go. Now you'll notice the visual is a little funny right now. I should have increased the size of that before I import it. It's one of the funkiness that there is in this visual right now. So the resolution's a little bit funny on this, but we'll just bear with me on that. All right, so let's go ahead and publish this out, and let's see how it looks now. Now again, you can go over to the little bar here. While you have this visual selected, go over here to the little paintbrush and kind of tweak the settings. That you want to add a title to it. All those things can be added inside of this. Some of them work, some are a little funky. So just a quick heads up and around that. So with that now done, let's go ahead and publish this out to our website. So I'm going to publish this to the Power BI service now. First of all, we have to save it, of course. Then it's going to publish this out to my private little workspace. There we go. And I'll hit select. It takes a few seconds here to get it out there, and then it's going to ask me next, do I want to go directly to that link next? So what's happening right now is it's sending my data set up there. There it goes. Now asking me if I want to go ahead and open this up directly. Let me go ahead and bring that down. It opened up a different window, looks like. There we go. Okay. Oh. Cool. Okay, so now it's opening it up, and what we want to do next is we'll see the custom visual inside this. Now, in case you did not see this custom visual, one of the things that you may have to do, at least for the first time opening it up, is edit the report, which I'm going to do anyways right now, and then go over here and add the custom visual back here. As soon as you add that custom visual back, I've only seen it a few times have that issue, it will then do it. So the next way, so that's one way of doing it again. So again, on this method here, we're going to want to have the application already written. We control the end user experience from day one. Now, if you want to have the application inside of this integrate with filters and do all sorts of really cool stuff like that, that's where our next step comes in. So this is where we're going to build the application in the service. Now, keep in mind, this is only a limitation right now. Likely, if you're watching this 6 months or a year later, that's been fixed. So in the service now, I want to go back and add that custom visual again, and we're going to create a brand new application right up here at the top right. So let me go ahead and kind of get that aligned how I want. Again, if you kind of get it the way you want it early, it's going to work much better for everybody because it's a lot harder to kind of resize these later. So I'm spending a little more time than I would normally spend on it, but you get the idea. Okay, next. Now this time the data I send into it is going to matter. The reason why it's going to matter now is because this data set is going to be passed right into the PowerApps application. So if I go over here, let's pass the project name in, for example. Let's also pass in, sorry, let me make sure your item is selected when you do that. I'm going to set the project name. I'm then going to select how many hours were billed to that project. I want to get the date of that bill. Now, one gotcha here, you'll make sure the date is either, like in this case, I'm using a hierarchy of a date here. So if that's the case, you want to make sure you do select this. I'm going to go ahead and kind of kill some of these and only keep the report date. There we go. 99. I'm going to keep the report date again. And then I'll also get the user for this report and maybe how many work items they created or something like that. Okay, easy peasy. Now you'll notice now we get an extra option inside this. This is the create new option. Now, by creating new, what's going to happen now is it's going to open up the application environment, PowerApps application environment. It's going to pass the data set into that environment and allow us to treat this data set and be filtered on this data set. In other words, if I were to select a project on the left, it's going to filter my application on the right. So lots of cool stuff we can do with that, right? It all kind of intermingles now. So back over here again, it's almost like a collection the way it does it. Now it picks some pretty terrible things at first, like the month name here, as you can see. So I'm going to first of all, go to my gallery. And I'm not going to worry about making this a pretty application by any means. What our use case is going to be in this case, I see an anomaly, and I want to report that anomaly to some kind of manager at this point. So I'm going to select my gallery. I'm going to go over here, and you'll notice in the gallery, when I select the gallery, and go to my data source in the gallery, you'll notice it actually is using a custom data source. And if I select these, you'll see it actually has Power BI items. It's called Power BI integration, and that's actually how it actually integrates with all this. So as I select inside there you go. Now you can see it, Power BI integration.data. So because of that, it limits you into some of the kind of cool stuff you can do with that, some of the stuff you're used to as a PowerApps developer. But I can go through and kind of customize this gallery. Let's make this more of a simple title-subtitle gallery. Let's make the project name as a subtitle. That'll work. And the title can be maybe how about we go with the number of work items completed, so there's any kind of anomalies. And I'll go ahead and put a little analogy in this, so called work items. There we go. And so if we see that it looks a little unusual there, like 50 work items that one day, we can actually remove it. Now we can of course go through and add a date, and we can add that date by going through and saying this item dot day. Oops, if I can spell today, that cursor's on the way. So we can kind of parse together a date because I have a hierarchy instead. So there we go. We're seeing that's the date. Let's go ahead and let's go a month here. Okay, and of course a space would be pretty useful here too, wouldn't it? So I keep on going through and say, all right, well, let's now put that as a September, and do, how about we do September? Oops, I'll do comma. This item dot day. We'll just try this item dot. We'll try day. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we can of course sort the data and do all those kind of things also, but right now we're going to keep it pretty simple here. Okay, so this is a pretty ugly application. I recognize that, and it gives me a little ticks looking at it, but that's fine. That's not the point of this webinar at all. But our next step is, if I notice an anomaly like this guy here who has 50 work items on September 5th, I may want to go through and actually flag as an alarm of that. So let's go ahead and create a brand new screen. One of the limitations we'll see here, if I can't actually delete that work item because I am using that Power BI integration mode where the data doesn't actually exist here, doesn't know that this data is in Azure or in SharePoint. The data set got passed into it, and now it's going through all that work. So some of the things like adding data, deleting data, you're going to want to do that a slightly different way. You're going to want to build your app and then kind of integrate it after the fact. Okay, so in my case though, I have a brand new application. This one I'll keep very simple. I'll say send email about anomaly. And helps if I can spell, that's okay. And let's go ahead and just put a few text boxes in here so we can kind of do that. So let's go ahead and add in a quick control here for inserting text. Let's do a text input, and then let's also do a rich input also. Okay, good enough. And you probably have already seen this a number of times here. I can go ahead and delete that. There we go. And there we go. We're not going to spend much time on this application. Let's just go ahead and make this my email address as a default. And then let's parse together some goodies here. So we'll say anomaly. Unusual time card. I know I misspelled that. Unusual. You would never know as an English major, would you? At one point. Time card found for, and then we can do ampersand, and there'll be, we'll go to the gallery. Gallery1 dot selected dot, and point to the person that we found that unusual item with. And that was, I think it was called this user or something like that. I must not have passed it in, as you can see. That's okay. We'll just say work item selected, and items selected are completed. Okay, and I'm having trouble with my ampersands and my closes and all that, so I have there we go. All right, so this is going to send an email in. Now to send the email in, you may have noticed in the previous video, we're going to have to add the Outlook connector. So we'll go to our data source and just add that data connector real quick. And let's go ahead and add that under, once it comes up. I've already added that once before, so I'm just going to piggyback this connector right here, Office 365 connector. Now, one thing that I made a mistake on here, as I get this email sent here, is I did forget to select the correct environment when I hit New App. So I selected the environment, different environment, my production environment now. So I'm going to have my application 1 pulling from my webinar environment, and this application is going to pull from my production environment. So when I hit save, it's going live to the wrong environment. So just a heads up, be careful when you hit that add application that you actually select the right environment. So back over here again, let's just add a quick icon to send that email, and somewhere here I'll just quickly find a send icon. Okay. Yeah, let's go with this right here. It's fine. Okay. And when somebody clicks on that icon, we want an Office 365, and we'll, again, we covered this explicitly earlier. We'll send that email. We're going to pass in the 2 is going to be, what did I call that? Looks like it's going to be text input 1.text. That's the email address it's going to go to. The next thing is going to be the subject. We'll call this just unusual time card activity and I'll put the project name in there. So gallery1 dot selected dot project name. There we go. And the next thing it requires is going to be the actual body of the email. So the body of the email is going to be that HTML that we see there. So it's called rich text editor .html text. There we go. So that should just about do it. We need to close parenthesis on that. And we're ready to go ahead and test this application out. So our next piece is also go back. We want to go ahead and send that back to where you came from before. Let's go ahead and go back to screen 0. We, of course, should rename the screen 0 and all that, screen 1. But let's just call this just unusual alert time card activity. Okay, good enough. And you'll notice I am in my main default work environment right here. So when I go back and save this, there we go, save that now. And get it off of my computer and on into the cloud. Now we're off to the races. There we go. And going back over to my Power BI report, we're going to see that application a little oddly skewed here. It's going to be, we'll have a whole bunch of gaps on the right and left side once we're there, as you can see. But now if I kind of work on making this a little bit cleaner, this is the part where it needs a little bit of work to get it right. And then, of course, you can move that however you wish. And kind of resize it vertically also to make it more of a presentable application. There we go. Now we're seeing a much better application. All right, so now I've got that now in place. Let's go ahead and save this report. With that now done, I can go through and kind of test drive this report. So let's go into my report. It's called I think it's called TimeCard Webinar. Okay, there we go. Now we're more in a viewer experience, and because we're in a viewer experience, we can do lots of neat stuff. We can pin these to a dashboard now, create a whole nice, oh, come on, why aren't you coming up? Okay. Yeah, for some reason it's not cooperating right now. Okay, well anyways, once we had that experience up, come on. All right, some of them, they're all not working. How about that? Oh, no wonder I'm into my data sets. That was stupid. All right, so the icons, the names are exactly the same thing. That's why I should definitely rename my data sets here. But you'll notice my webinar, TimeCard Webinar, and TimeCard Webinar. I do this all the time. I make a mistake like this all the time. You want to make sure you go to your reports, not your data sets. All right, with that now done, I'm opening this up. Now, here's the cool part about this. All right, if I look at on the right here in a moment, if I were to select my Spanish translation reports, because I passed the data in, all of my visuals all change, including my PowerApps visual on the right. Now, of course, I can skinny this down to get rid of that black line that you see right there and make it a little cleaner where it looks flush. But now, as I hop around here, we can see only the time cards that were submitted for French translations. It's a pretty handy way of nice integration inside that. This right here is much tougher to do if you kind of import your own application. Because all the data sets align up, it's able to kind of solve that problem. So likewise, as I kind of hop around here and pick this guy right here, if I select this September 11th work item here, okay, for the Hindi translation. Oh, and I didn't build my navigation there. So ideally, I should have had some navigation built in there. So let me really quickly go to Edit Report. Let's show you now how I made a mistake. How do I reconcile that mistake? So as I go inside of this, notice getting little warnings here saying make sure you give people permission to use this. As I reconcile this and go into the Edit button, I can go to Edit. It's going to then open up PowerApps again. And while it's opening up, let me go ahead and open up my email as well so I can go ahead and send that email off as well. So now that PowerApps is opening, actually I already have it open, so I could have just gone inside of here, but let's wait for it to do its thing here. Now it's going to give me a little bit of weirdness right now as I do this. So Once I do this, once I hit the edit button, sometimes the data coming into it looks a little unusual. So our sometimes data doesn't come in at all. So just a word of warning that sometimes when it's looking at it, it doesn't let you pass that sample data in for me to work with. So it's not quite as WYSIWYG as you'd want it to be. That's okay, because everything still functions and still works, just that one piece doesn't work. So it's saying, of course, I have it open already. Let me cancel that and just use the one I already have open. I should have done the whole time. Okay, so in here, I hit this little arrow, hit a little pencil first, go to the arrow, our chevron, as they call it, and I want to navigate to that other application. So that's going to be screen, aptly named screen 2. And let's do that as a covered transition like that. Okay, good enough. So I should be able to hit the little arrow now, and now I'm opening up this application. Perfect. Let's go ahead and save that off. And now I should be able to open up PowerApps again. Okay, let me go back to the report. Okay, let's see how we do this time. I'll click on that icon. It immediately is aware of that change I just made. I'll click on the icon. Oh. I say that. Let's go back into French translation. You know what? I say that. It should be actually have reloaded that. This is one of those little weirdness moments here again. So let me go out of the report. Okay, let's save that. That's fine. Let's go out of the report, come back in. Okay. It should open that up again, hopefully. Refresh the data. There's 1, there's 2. Now, this time, at least, we should, hopefully I actually saved it. I did save it. I did not publish it, though. Gotcha. So that would be my big gotcha right there. Let me publish that bad boy. If things worked 100% the first time, you'd be suspicious, right? So if I click on this now, again, I have not published it, and so I'm going to refresh this. Now it should be, let me make sure I actually confirm it actually did publish. There we go. Sometimes that publishing takes a few seconds. Generally, in this case, it should be okay. We'll refresh. So a few of the gotchas we found here, right? One of the gotchas was, in our case, we didn't publish the data set. We didn't publish our data. The other one we had was, it looks like we were pulling up our data set instead of the other way around. So let me just move my Outlook over here so we can kind of see. And it is now opening up again here, and we'll see if hopefully this time it actually published. Okay, unusual activity report, come on. Okay, hit the chevron. There we go. I did do some spacing inside of that and all that. Hit the send button, and off to the races. So this is a great way. Now it has a little error now. Looks like oh, my recipient is actually invalid now. So it looks like I actually have a wrong. Ha! There's my problem. You see what happened there is I actually put my B Night at Pragmatic Works in my subject. Why didn't you guys catch that? All right. Okay, and just paste my actual stuff right there into this right here. It looks like we're all going now. And now it looks like I'll wait for my email to come in here, and there it is. I now see my email. Let me go ahead and bring this bad boy over. Aha! Look at that. So we have now made our data actionable. Again, some of the ways our customers are using this is they're using this to do write back into a quota system, for example. So if I have a sales quota that now is a new quarter, it's changed, I can put my administration of that right inside of this. Or I want to do like any kind of performance management inside of this. Great ways of doing this. Or if I see one salesperson has this great month, I want to hit a shout out to them, hit a button, and it will launch a shout out application. So lots of neat ways you can actually integrate this, but my point is, this makes all of your data actionable, right? It's one of the cool things about that. And as John's pointing out, it actually makes a whole bunch of stuff, employee engagement, much, much more rich also. So lots of neat stuff we can do this. So hope you enjoyed this webinar on how do we put PowerApps into Power BI. We also have a webinar we did about a week ago or so on how do we put Power BI into PowerApps. So this is part of our training that we do at Pragmatic Works. You can come out to pragmaticworks.com in the comment section down below. We can also help you build your applications as well. We have a managed service to help build Power Apps for our customers as well. Hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for those that are attending live as well. Have a great day. Goodbye.